On a serene afternoon, a baby named Ethan was suddenly struck by a severe headache that caused him to weep uncontrollably. His mother, Olivia, immediately sensed something was wrong when she checked on him, prompting her to swiftly take him to the doctor. "This crying isn't normal," Olivia whispered anxiously, holding her 5-month-old son tightly against her. It was a bright Wednesday morning in their peaceful suburban community. Olivia had just given Ethan his morning feed when he started crying. Initially, she thought he might be fussy or perhaps tired from a poor night's sleep. However, as time went on, she recognized that his discomfort was more severe. Ethan was clearly in distress. His tiny hands were balled into fists. His complexion was flushed, and he trembled in her arms. Olivia tried to soothe him by rocking him and whispering, "It's okay, baby. Mommy's here." Normally, this would settle him down. But nothing seemed to help today. She attempted to pacify him with his favorite pacifier, a cozy blanket, and even his cherished musical toy. But his cries continued unabated. With her husband Liam already at work, Olivia felt increasingly anxious and alone with her concerns. She reached for her phone to call her mother, an experienced parent of 3, hoping for some guidance. "Mom, Ethan won't stop crying, and I can't figure out why," she explained. "Babies cry, dear. Maybe he's just teething," her mother suggested. Olivia responded, "I thought so too. But this seems different. He keeps grabbing his head as if it's hurting him," her mother advised. "Check if he has a fever. Sometimes they tug at their head when they're feeling unwell." After checking, Olivia found no fever and sighed. "No fever. I'll keep watching him." The morning dragged on slowly, with Ethan occasionally dozing off. Ethan's sleep was troubled, and Olivia could see him grimace each time she gently lifted his head to change his diaper. She noticed an unusual small bald spot on his scalp with slightly red skin underneath. Dismissing it as nothing serious, after all. "It's common for infants to lose hair," she tried to reassure herself. Yet, the sight of the red patch haunted her. By noon, Ethan's crying had intensified. Concerned, Olivia phoned Liam to express her worries. "He keeps touching his head, and there's a strange bald spot. Should I take him to see a doctor?" Liam, always the more logical one, recommended they wait a bit longer. "It might just be an off day. If it worsens, we'll contact the pediatrician," he advised. However, Olivia felt that this was more than just a rough day. By mid-afternoon, her anxiety had escalated to outright fear. Ethan was far from his cheerful self, lying limp in her arms, only managing occasional shrill cries. Attempts to feed him were futile. He adamantly refused his bottle, turning away and crying even more when she persisted. Olivia's thoughts raced. Was he ill? Allergic to something? She reviewed the last few days in her mind. No new foods. No unfamiliar interactions. No incidents. Then it struck her. 3 days prior, Ethan had lightly bumped his head on his crib's edge while rolling. He cried momentarily but appeared fine soon after. Could such a slight bump have led to his current condition? Desperate for answers, Olivia decided to take a closer look at the bald spot. positioning herself by the window for better light. She carefully parted Ethan's hair with shaky hands. Holding her breath, she noticed the skin wasn't just reddish, it appeared irritated. Nearly inflamed. At the center of the bald spot, she spotted 2 tiny black dots. They weren't deep but eerily uniform. As if something alien had imprinted on the skin. "What on earth is this?" she murmured. Her pulse racing. Quickly, she captured a photo and sent it to Liam with an urgent text. "Look at this. Should I rush him to urgent care?" Liam replied promptly. "That's odd. But it could just be a rash or something. Let's call the pediatrician tomorrow if it's still there." Feeling frustrated yet uncertain of the next steps, Olivia decided to keep a close eye on Ethan throughout the day. She gently applied a bit of baby-safe ointment to the affected area, hoping it would alleviate the redness. As night fell, Ethan's condition seemed to slightly better. He cried less and even offered a faint smile when Olivia hummed his favorite lullaby. She reassured herself. Perhaps she was just overreacting. Babies often developed odd rashes. Didn't they? Nonetheless, the sight of those peculiar marks lingered in her mind. Preparing Ethan for bed, she noticed he still winced when she touched his head. And his sleep was restless, filled with soft moans that tugged at her heartstrings. Sitting by his crib, she watched over him, exhausted and anxious. "I'm probably just being paranoid," she whispered to herself. "It's nothing serious." The next morning, Olivia was jolted awake by Ethan's sharp, desperate cries from the baby monitor. Heart pounding, she hurried to his room. Ethan was in his crib, his complexion red, hands gripping his head. "Mommy's here," she soothed as she picked him up. But her calming words seemed to have no effect this time. As she cradled him, Olivia noticed with alarm that he was rejecting his pacifier, something he usually found comforting. His little body was unusually warm and he writhed in discomfort. As she held his head close to her heart, Olivia felt an unsettling urgency. Something wasn't right. She changed his diaper swiftly and opted to check his scalp once more. Parting his hair, she caught her breath. The bald spot seemed more pronounced and inflamed. The redness was more intense, and the 2 black openings seemed to have widened. The skin around them felt unusually warm and showed a slight, worrisome puffiness. Hastily, she took a photo with her phone, her hands trembling as she sent it to Liam with a message. "It's worse. We can't wait till tomorrow." Liam responded instantly. "Okay. Let's head to urgent care after work." But Olivia felt a pressing need to act sooner. She called their pediatrician and relayed Ethan's symptoms to the receptionist, only to be offered an appointment for the following day. Disheartened, Olivia hung up and vowed to monitor Ethan more closely. The hours passed slowly. Ethan's cries grew sporadic and his usual liveliness gave way to sluggishness. He began avoiding eye contact, which was unlike him. Olivia tried to soothe him with songs, toys, and even videos of calming sounds. Yet nothing seemed to help. By early afternoon, overwhelmed and on the verge of tears, Olivia placed Ethan on the changing table to re-examine the troublesome spot. To her dismay, the swelling seemed to have grown, and she thought she saw slight movements near one of the dark spots. Whispering in no, 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 Her anxiety escalated. What was happening? Her mind raced with thoughts of infections or insect bites. Olivia was haunted by the memory of Ethan bumping his head on the crib days before. She wondered if that incident could be linked to his current symptoms. As dusk fell, she was deep into searching parenting forums online, looking for any signs similar to Ethan's unusual symptoms. She stumbled upon a discussion about mysterious scalp issues, where theories ranged from benign eczema to the more alarming possibility of a foreign object embedded in the skin. The idea of something stuck beneath Ethan's skin filled Olivia with dread, and she felt compelled to find out the truth. By the time Liam got home that night, Olivia was on edge. She immediately handed Ethan over to him and poured out her concerns. The crying, the growing bald spot, the swelling, and what she feared might be beneath the skin. Liam attempted to maintain his composure, but his worry was evident when Olivia showed him a recent picture of Ethan's scalp. "We need to go to the Olivia insisted, her voice shaking with urgency. "Let's not rush into anything," Liam cautioned, his anxiety mounting. "It might just be a rash. We don't want to rush to the hospital and end up waiting for hours for nothing." Olivia's patience snapped, overwhelmed by worry. "Liam, this is our son. Something is not right, and I'm not willing to wait any longer." After a tense discussion, they decided to give it a few more hours to see if Ethan's condition would improve. Olivia agreed, albeit reluctantly, and continued to monitor Ethan closely. She noticed that he seemed more sensitive to touch, even wincing when his head made contact with the softest materials. Around midnight, Ethan's condition suddenly worsened, and he emitted a piercing scream. When Olivia and Liam heard the commotion from the nursery, they rushed to find their son inconsolable, frantically scratching his head. Olivia quickly fetched a flashlight for a closer inspection of the bald spot, which had now worsened. The sight of the enlarged swelling and a black hole leaking fluid chilled her to the bone. Fueled by a rush of adrenaline, Olivia decisively told Liam, "We're going to the hospital now." Their journey to the emergency room felt surreal, with streetlights flashing past and Ethan's cries resonating in the car. Olivia cradled him, trying to calm him with gentle whispers, while Liam drove through the deserted streets. Upon arrival, the triage nurse immediately prioritized Ethan due to his visible distress and the alarming state of his scalp, quickly escorting them to an examination room. A composed young doctor entered soon after and inquired about the situation. Olivia detailed the symptoms: the incessant crying, the hair loss, the dark spots, and the swelling. She showed him a photo on her phone, which caused the doctor to frown deeply. He examined Ethan's scalp closely, his concern growing evident. "We need to conduct some imaging tests immediately," he stated, prompting a wave of anxiety in Olivia. As Ethan was taken for an X-ray, the wait tormented Olivia, who agonized over whether she had overlooked something crucial or if she was at fault. When the doctor finally returned, his grave expression intensified Olivia's anxiety. "We've discovered something," he began, unable to contain her worry. Olivia interjected, "What did you find?" The doctor paused before he proceeded, displaying the X-ray images to her. "It seems that there's something foreign just under Ethan's scalp, possibly causing the swelling and the 2 punctures you mentioned," said the doctor. maintaining a calm yet serious demeanor. Olivia was shocked. A foreign object? How can that be? She asked. We're not entirely sure at this point. The doctor continued. It might have gotten in through a tiny cut or a slight injury. It's uncommon but happens occasionally. Especially with toddlers who are quite curious. Olivia's thoughts drifted to the incident a few days earlier when Ethan had hit his head against the crib. Could that have been when the object got under his skin? She was overwhelmed with guilt for not noticing it earlier. What type of object are we dealing with? Inquired Liam. Worry evident in his voice. We can't determine exactly what it is from the X-ray. It's small. Probably no bigger than a speck of dirt or debris. But it has caused inflammation, leading to the swelling and redness, explained the doctor. Olivia felt sick to her stomach. What are the next steps? She asked. The doctor outlined that a minor surgical procedure would be needed to extract the object. Although the surgery posed minimal risk, the thought of her 5-month-old undergoing an operation was daunting for Olivia. Tears filled her eyes as she agreed to the procedure. As the nurses prepared Ethan for surgery, Olivia held his small hand, soothing him with gentle words. Liam stood by her side, trying to appear strong but visibly shaken. I should have brought him in earlier, Olivia murmured, her voice shaking with emotion. Liam comforted her. You've done all you could. We're here now. And he's going to be fine. The surgery was completed in about 30 minutes. It seemed like an eternity for Olivia and Liam as they awaited the doctor's return. When he finally arrived, he held a tiny sealed jar containing a jagged fragment of plastic. A piece from one of Ethan's old toys. The doctor explained that it had likely become embedded in Ethan's scalp following a minor accident they had mentioned. Over time, Ethan's skin had healed over it, causing inflammation. Olivia gazed at the shard, overwhelmed by both relief and remorse. She recalled the toy, a secondhand gift from a friend, which had appeared innocuous. Yet she had not inspected it for any defects. How could something so tiny cause so much trouble? She murmured, her voice a faint whisper. The doctor noted that babies' skin is delicate and their immune systems are still developing, making them vulnerable to even small foreign bodies, which can cause considerable irritation if not addressed. Fortunately, he assured them that the object had been successfully removed and Ethan would fully recover. Tears rolled down Olivia's cheeks as she embraced Liam, feeling a mixture of relief and residual stress from the ordeal. The following days were a haze of recovery and introspection. Though Ethan was released from the hospital in good health, Olivia was haunted by guilt, pondering if she could have averted the incident. Liam, ever rational, urged her to concentrate on the positive outcome. He's fine now. That's what's important. Yet, Olivia remained troubled and began to immerse herself in researching toy safety, reading articles, and engaging in parenting forums to share her experience. She discovered that small, easily overlooked dangers in everyday items were more prevalent than she had thought. Motivated to make a difference, Olivia started to campaign for greater awareness of toy safety. A week later, she stood in the living room, watching Ethan play on a soft mat with his thoroughly checked toys, his laughter echoing through the space. A sound that brought her immense joy yet a reminder of the recent scare. Olivia would never again overlook the significance of the bald spot on his head, which, though still apparent, no longer showed signs of redness and swelling. As she grasped the container holding the plastic shard, a renewed sense of purpose washed over her. She resolved to craft a comprehensive post on social media, incorporating photos and offering advice to fellow parents. She poured her emotions into the post, detailing each twist and turn of their frightening experience, and encouraged other parents to meticulously inspect their children's toys for potential hazards. The reaction was immense. Parents nationwide responded, sharing their own stories and expressing gratitude for Olivia's transparency. What had begun as a harrowing ordeal transformed into a chance to aid others. Back at home, as they watched Ethan crawl on the floor, Liam embraced her, remarking, "You've made a difference. You turned something frightening into something impactful." Olivia smiled, a burden lifting from her shoulders. She acknowledged that while she couldn't shield Ethan from every danger, she could certainly try her best. And that was sufficient. Holding her son close, she felt thankful for his resilience and the valuable lessons they had both learned. She realized that parenting wasn't about perfection but about doing all one could to ensure the safety and love of her child. After watching the story above, do you have any thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and share our channel. That's all about today's stories. See you next time.